Okay, what is a good deal and what is a bad deal when financing a motorcycle? Stick around, we're gonna find out. What's up everyone, it's Alex. So we've talked about whether or not you should or should not finance a motorcycle. We've talked about the very basic process of what to expect and how to go about actually applying for and doing financing for a motorcycle. What I want to talk about in this video is what a good finance deal and what a bad finance deal look like when you're financing a motorcycle, because I have had some very specific questions on doing some examples of a good versus a bad finance deal. So that's what we're doing right here. In general, you've already decided to finance a motorcycle, you've already figured out private party or from a dealer. Most of the time for this, I'm going to assume we're looking at it from a dealer standpoint, so that's the direction I'm going to go, because if you're doing a private party, you're going through your own credit union or bank anyway. It's going to be pretty simple to figure this out, but you're looking at a dealer, you want to finance a motorcycle. Say they've done the credit application, they've come back and they're pitching the deal to you, let's say. First thing to understand with motorcycles, when you're financing a motorcycle, the finance world views a motorcycle as a toy or as a recreational item. In other words, it is a luxury item to the finance world. I know some of us live on our motorcycle, some of us use it for primary transportation. To a lot of us, it is not a toy or a luxury item, but the finance world, it is a recreational luxury item, period. That being said, you need to understand on motorcycles, generally your interest rate is going to be higher than what you would be used to seeing on a car or on a house. So a lot of people used to walk into a motorcycle dealership and expect to see a 1 or 2% interest rate or something like that. I'm not going to say it never happens. There are times where a brand new motorcycle manufacturer will put out a promotional interest rate on brand new motorcycles, you know, from 0 to 3% or something like that. But it's not very common, and it's usually only on brand new, and it's usually only on very specific models that they want to get rid of. Typically on a motorcycle, especially a used motorcycle or something that's not on a brand new promotion, typically on a motorcycle, if you are getting under 10%, that's going to be good to average interest, okay? I would say, especially on used motorcycles, unless you have a really good credit union, but for most lenders on a used motorcycle, if you're under 10%, that is considered a good interest rate on a motorcycle. If you are between 10 and say 14% or something, that would be considered an average sort of interest rate on a motorcycle, or a kind of lower average. If you're over 14 or 15%, don't do it. You have no business financing that motorcycle. You need to save up some cash and just do it that way. I'm not trying to be harsh, but if you're going to finance a motorcycle and they come back with more than 14 or 15% interest, then you've got some credit issues or the dealer sucks. Either way, don't buy that motorcycle. Do not. I can't tell you how many hundreds of people over the years I've seen not willing to be patient and want a motorcycle so bad, and they've messed their credit up and they take an interest rate over 15%. You're just paying so much more in the long run for that motorcycle. It would be so much better if you could just be patient for a little while, save up some money, and buy a cash used bike and start fixing your credit first, okay? Don't pay 15, 19, 24. Don't pay that high interest on a motorcycle, okay? It's just not worth it. Most of those cases I have seen, people end up not really being able to pay for it anyway, wreck their credit even worse, lose their motorcycle. It's just tragic, all right? But getting back to the task at hand, generally, if you are under 10% on a used motorcycle especially, and on a lot of new motorcycles too, if you're under 10%, you're getting a pretty decent interest rate, depending on what your length of term is. But if you're under 10%, you're getting a pretty decent interest rate. So if you're in the single digits on a motorcycle, I would consider most of those to be a good deal on a motorcycle, especially used. So I'd say used motorcycle, if you're under 10%, you're getting a pretty good interest rate. That's going to be what I would consider to be a good deal. Your mileage may vary based on your situation. On a brand new motorcycle, I would really try to be under 6 or 7%. On a brand new motorcycle, if you have good credit, you should be able to get under 7%. Again, depending on how long you want to finance. The more years you finance for, the higher interest you're generally going to pay. But on a brand new motorcycle, anything under about 7% is going to be a good deal. Anything under 10% is still a fair deal. On a brand new motorcycle, if it's more than 10%, I'd say you're starting to get into the shaky, shady deal situation. You probably should go back to the drawing board. On a brand new bike, if you're paying more than 10%, you've probably got some credit issues. You probably need to just save up and pay cash, or pay more money down, or do something else like that. And in no situation ever, new or used, would I ever recommend you paying more than 14 or 15%. If you've got kind of half shaky credit, you've had some mistakes in the past, but you've been fixing it and you know that, like you know if you've had some credit issues and you have to fix it, if you've had some issues and you're trying to fix it and you got to pay 12 or 13% or something like that on a bike you really, really want, and you can very easily afford your payments on it to get your credit even more back the way it goes, I can see that. 14 or 15% or higher, save up the money and pay cash. Be patient, just be patient. Don't wreck things even worse and lose your motorcycle over being impatient. So just to summarize again, good deal versus bad deal. On a used motorcycle, if you are looking at 10% or less on a used motorcycle when you have good credit, that is a good finance deal. If you are looking at over 10% on a used motorcycle and you have some shaky credit and you can keep it under 15, that's fair. Anything over 15% on a used motorcycle, bad deal, walk away, save up more money or find a different dealer. Don't do it. New motorcycle. Anything I would say 7% and under on a new motorcycle is going to be a fairly good deal. You can get sub 5%, that's a great deal on a new motorcycle. Anything under 10% for your finance rate is going to be a fair deal on a new motorcycle. If it's over 10% on a new motorcycle, you've either got credit issues or there's something else going on. I don't think I would go over 10% on a new motorcycle, okay? Save up more money, be patient, do something else. Also on the good deal versus bad deal stuff, aside from your interest rate, when they bring it to you, look at your payment and look at the breakdown. If you're looking at a used motorcycle and they bring you back your finance stuff and they're going through the numbers and the breakdown with you, which they should, they are required by law to do. If you see, like, say you're paying $5,000 for the motorcycle and you've got taxes and everything, but somehow your payment is $250 and your interest rate's not that bad, you need to be looking through there and seeing if there's some other stuff tacked on, okay? Pay attention to your numbers. A good deal when they come back is going to have just the motorcycle, sales tax, and whatever your title and registration fees are by law for your area, and then, you know, whatever your interest rate is on top of that. That's going to be a good deal. If they come back and without even asking you first, it's already loaded up with, I got a bunch of freight fees, I got setup fees, I got reconditioning fees, I got just because I damn well want a dealer fees, or I've got $2,000 or $3,000 worth of extra warranties and all kinds of stuff tacked on there that they just threw in there and assumed that you were going to pay for and didn't even ask you first. No, there's nothing wrong with getting some warranty for your motorcycle or some other protection like that, or some gap insurance when you're financing it. There's nothing wrong with those things if you want them and if it will bring you more peace of mind. You know what, I'm going to do a whole separate video on the warranties and all that kind of stuff just to discuss that, because there is a good and a bad time to do that. But if the dealer comes back with just the bike, your taxes, and your registration fees, and then they're going to discuss the rest with you, good. If they come back and your deal's already loaded down to the gills with all kinds of extra stuff you weren't expecting, then they're not being honest, they're being shady, and you need to either call them out on it, they need to take it off, or you need to get up and go find somebody else, okay? So that's how you spot, aside from your interest rate, that's how you spot good deal and bad deal. Is it already loaded up with a bunch of extra BS? Or is it just a nice clean-cut deal and then they're going to nicely pitch the other stuff to you in the long run? So that's been my ideas, just really basically on good versus a bad deal. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more questions out there. Just ask me specific questions in the comments. I'll shoot another video to answer it, or I'll answer you in the comments, whatever. We're also going to do one here really soon on warranties and cover all that kind of topic, because I think there's a lot of confusion on that. There are good times and bad times to do warranties and gap insurance and all. We'll discuss all that in a separate video, okay? Hope this has been helpful. If not, let me know in the comments below. I'm Alex. Peace.